Привет!
Oh
And
my
welcome
God.
to another episode of BuzzPucks. I'm Bert,
I'm Clay.
and we're back again this week to serve you up another heaping helping of hockey
What week is this?
straight to your ear holes. Week 4.
Week 4. Woo!
Woo! Woo! We're going through it. I think there's 29 weeks of the regular
A
season.
month in.
Yeah, full month in. Look at that. Well, we are. Thankfully, we don't have to talk about a really horrible thing at the top of the episode this time. So we can actually just get right into it. Thank God.
Right into it? Okay.
I mean, Chicago is still a piece of shit and all of that stuff.
That's
and
never going to change.
Thankfully, people are coming out at Kyle Beach's defense and support, so everything's good. Well, not good, but the change is happening.
Yes.
So let's. What beer are we drinking, Clay?
This week, we are drinking Pipeworks Brewing Company.
Which beer?
They're Lizard King.
There you go.
Couldn't find it for a second. With this very dope artwork.
Yeah,
which
they're,
really works for an audio medium.
Yeah, you guys can't
but
see it, but
A skeleton fighting a lizard man.
the Lizard King, I assume. Yeah, this company really likes their very stylized beer cans. They have a couple other ones. There's another one
They're
I know I've
eye-catching.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super eye-catching. There's another beer I've seen from them where it's a unicorn fighting a ninja, I think. It's really cool. I don't think they had that one at the store. I would have gotten that one.
Alright, so it's a Mosaic hopped ale, and
I don't know what that means.
so Mosaics is, I think it's a blend of hops, or it's a type of hops.
Oh, okay.
So it's a pale ale that's
Remains to be
low
seen
hops.
if I will like this beer.
Yeah.
This beer is also from Chicago, Illinois.
Yes.
So let's pop them open. Yeah.
We've gotten good at that.
We have.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers, buddy.
Clink.
Clinky. Oh, nope. Oh, man.
I'm all about it.
I'll get through it, but
I'm all about it. This is yummy.
just for you guys at home, I really don't like hoppy beer. I like pretty much every other kind of beer except for hoppy beer, but Clay loves them. My dad loved them too, and some of the beer he drank straight up tasted like cough syrup, and I did not understand how he liked it. I didn't get it. So I'll start this week.
You're starting this week.
All right, you know what? Let's start with the Central. Let's start with the Central and the worst team in the league, the Arizona Coyotes. They actually won a game this week, though.
Yeah, they did.
They won their first game of the season against the Seattle Kraken.
Oh, boy.
That was their third game of the week. They lost the other two,
Oh,
of course, to Philadelphia and Anaheim. So they're 1-2 this week, bringing their grand total of the season so far to 110-1. So nice round 3 points that they have on the season through 12 games.
I watched that game with the Seattle Coyotes.
There's a lot of scoring in it.
The defense from Seattle is not playing great.
That's
surprising.
Because I thought that they would have had a pretty solid defense, but it could be coaching too. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the guys just aren't gelling well together.
At least not yet.
Yeah.
At
Well,
this point, yeah.
we could talk about Seattle more in a little bit. Let's talk about the garbage heap that is the Arizona Coyotes. They only had 3 power plays in those 3 games, and they went 1 for 3.
Good for them.
So that's okay. They scored a power play
That's
goal.
excellent.
And actually, their PK was pretty good this week too, 8 for 9. And this week they actually didn't get blown out. They did get shut out by Philadelphia, and they lost to Anaheim 3-1. But they did win a game,
Good.
so Arizona looked okay this week.
If they were in the Cachinas, they looked great.
Oh, dude, those jerseys are so sweet. Those jerseys are so sick. As for their top player is Shane Gostisbehere, which I think is the second time so far that I've given it to Shane Gostisbehere for them. So good for him.
We should keep a running tally of that.
We should. We'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Well, not next week. We'll get to next week at the end of the episode.
No, we won't. Surprise.
We should mention it. As for injuries, Schmaltz is on. It has an upper body injury that'll take him out for 3 to 4 weeks. And Ryan Dzingel also has an upper body injury that takes him out for 1 to 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
And so, that upper body injury could be literally anything above the waist.
Yep.
That's what's really cool about hockey is they just won't tell you what the injuries are sometimes.
Someone got a neck injury.
Really?
Yeah. Can't remember.
Well, sometimes they'll tell you, and then other times they'll just be like, fuck you, I'm not going to tell you what the injury is. is. And I get it, and it's for a shitty reason that they do it. But
Yeah, I mean, I think Edmonton, someone lost 2 players, not super big, but they were undetermined amount of time, both undisclosed.
that's not good.
Yeah,
That's not good. What did they get shot? What the fuck? What
I don't
What
know.
are those injuries?
I don't know.
It's so weird.
They both got listed the same day too.
Oh my god.
I know.
Happened. It's probably what it's probably something really stupid that happened that they got injured with.
It wasn't Edmonton. It was Vancouver.
Oh, okay, but it was probably something really dumb that they don't want to tell everybody.
Yep.
Like one of them dropped like a weight on both of their feet or something and broke their feet.
Trevor Bauer slicing his hand on a drone.
Yeah, something dumb like that happened. Well, that was Arizona's week. So let's move on to Chicago, the team that we are drinking beers for this week, I suppose. They actually won their first game of the year as well.
Oh, wow.
They won 2 this week, actually.
Good for them.
They beat Ottawa for their first win of the season. They lost to Carolina, lost to Winnipeg, and they also beat Nashville in overtime to bring their record this week to 2-2 and 2-9-2 overall. Yeah, they're not doing a ton better than Arizona, but they're doing a little bit better than Arizona. Their power play not so great, 1 for 12 this week, but 10 for 11 on the penalty kill. Patrick Kane had I didn't even write down the top player. It was Patrick Kane. Had a pretty good week. I didn't write down his stat line, but I believe he had 4 goals and 2 assists
But
this
this
week.
was his first week back, correct?
I think he did miss a few. Oh, he had COVID, so
Yeah.
he was out for a little bit. He had a hat trick against Ottawa,
Gotcha.
and he scored another goal somewhere else in there. As for injuries, Phillips and Tyler Johnson both have COVID on the COVID list, so I'm sure they'll miss a week or so. Hopefully, they don't. Hopefully, they're asymptomatic and such. But yeah, that's Chicago. Moving on to Colorado, they only had 2 games this week. Both of them were against Columbus. They had a home and home against Columbus this week. Kind of weird.
Made it serious?
Yeah, kind of weird. They lost both of the games to Columbus. Yeah,
I knew about one of the losses.
they lost in overtime and then lost outright to Columbus. So 0-1-1 this week. Colorado is kind of struggling. They're 4-5-1 so far this season. Yeah, that's it.
That's
for a team that people were already penciling in to go to the Stanley Cup. Now they've had some injury problems. Landeskog got suspended for a couple of games, and then I think also got injured. McKinnon missed the first week or 2 of the season.
We said they were going to the playoffs, not Stanley Cup, right?
No, I didn't mean us.
I'm asking.
We didn't
I'm
pick.
asking.
But I think there were a lot of people's sexy pick to go to the
100%.
Stanley Cup Finals this year.
100%.
So they're kind of struggling out the gate. Now there's plenty of time. They're only 10 games into the season.
We've seen multiple teams in the past 5 years. Go being the worst team.
They have
in January,
72 games left.
being the worst team in January to winning it.
Being super bad and not super bad. They're not super bad. They're 4-5-2, but being not so hot in October is
the worst thing in the world.
okay. You can recover. It's when you start getting to December and you're still not doing super good that you really got to do some work to get back. Now you can do it, but
it's hard.
It's hard. As for their top player, Nazem Kadri had 4 assists this week.
Oh, good for
in
him.
those 2 games. Injuries, Makar's day to day, and Martin Kaut is week to week with a shoulder injury. Let's go to Dallas. Dallas is 1-1-1 this week.
Dallas is crazy.
Dallas is crazy. They lost in a shootout to Winnipeg. They beat Calgary in overtime and then lost to Vancouver outright in regulation. Dallas, weirdly, their overall record is 4-5-2. All of their wins have come in overtime or a shootout, and then they also have 2 overtime/shootout losses. It's really weird.
Yeah, they haven't won a game in regulation.
They haven't won a game in regulation, which is really strange. But
especially when you're basically batting .500.
Yeah, I mean, they're staying afloat, so
Yeah.
maybe they could start winning some regulation games here in the near future. But it's just a really strange way to start the year. But I mean, they're fighting through. They're getting those points when you got to get them. So strange. Their power play was 4 for 8 this week, and their penalty kill.
So good.
Their penalty kill was 9 for 15.
Ooh, that is so bad.
They gave up 3 power play goals against Vancouver, which is a major reason why they lost that game. But they also scored 2 power play goals in that game. That game was weird.
That game was Demko stole a goal from Jamie Benn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Came from across the ice. It was an empty net.
Yeah, it was crazy. Thatcher Demko just skated down and he knuckle pucked it right into the net.
100%.
The goalie. Oh, you know what I just realized? I don't think I said Colorado's power play and PK numbers. I'll finish Dallas. And I'll get back.
Yeah.
Dallas's top player this week was Tyler Seguin. Good to see him have a nice week.
Mhm.
2 goals, 2 assists in those 3 games. They don't really have any injuries, so lucky them. Circling back to Colorado real quick, they were 0 for 7 on the power play this week. Now that was only 2 games, but still,
There's 7 power plays.
7 power plays. Yeah. They did kill all 4 of their penalties. That's good. So, there is that. All right. Now to Minnesota. I think one of the surprises this year. Honestly, there's a few surprise teams so far.
Well, what's their record?
Well, I'll get to it. They were 3-0 this week. They beat Ottawa in overtime, beat Pittsburgh in a shootout, and they beat the Islanders in regulation. 3-0 this week to go to 8-3 overall.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I am surprised.
I am surprised. Now, I don't think we didn't think that Minnesota was going to be a bad team necessarily, but I think middle of the pack was where we were pegging them to be. Now, they might fall back to that mean eventually,
maybe playoffs, but probably middle of the pack.
I mean, if they keep playing the way they're playing pretty resilient too, because against Pittsburgh they erased a 2-goal lead with 3 minutes left in the game. They pulled their goalie and they scored 2 goals, 6 on 5, and that's not the first time that they've done that this year. I can't remember specifically. I want to say they did it against Winnipeg too, and maybe one other time as well. So they're a fairly resilient team. They know how to get. They've been getting those clutch goals.
They want it.
Now, can they keep that up for the rest of the season? That remains to be seen. Their power play this week was 1 for 8, and their penalty kill was 6 for 7. 6 for 7 is not bad. 1 for 8.
Nah.
But you know what? You can't really knock them. They were 3-0 this week.
100%.
So, as for their top player, I gave it to Kaprizov this week.
I mean, yeah.
He had 2 goals, 2 assists. He was pretty instrumental in that comeback against Pittsburgh. And as for injuries, Greenway on their team. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head, but he has a lower body injury and he's been put on the IR.
Gotcha.
I didn't see a guess as to how long he would be out for, so we'll see for him. Moving on to Nashville. They went 2-1-1 this week. They beat Calgary in overtime. They lost to Edmonton in regulation. They beat Vancouver in regulation, and then lost to Chicago in overtime, like I mentioned. So that takes them to 6-5-1. Not bad.
Not bad.
Essentially 500, but they have a loser point in there as well.
Yeah.
They were 3 for 11 on the power play this week, pretty good. 14 for 16 on the penalty kill. Not too shabby.
No,
not too shabby.
Not bad at all.
2 power play goals in 4 games, not too shabby.
No.
16 penalties is gotta bring that number down a little bit.
Nashville's just.
That wasn't 4 games, but
I find them just weird. Not in a bad way, but it's just.
Well, sometimes they look pretty good,
Yeah,
and then
can't lock 'em
sometimes
down.
they're like, oh, well, you lost by 3 to Edmonton. Now Edmonton's a good team too, but it's like sometimes they play extremely well, and other times they're just kind of flat.
Yeah.
That screams like middle of the pack kind of team
Unfortunately,
to me.
yeah.
It's a consistency thing. Now, again, like we said with Colorado, long season ahead of us, they could find that consistency very easily. Matt Duchene was their top player this week. And if they're going to find some consistency, they're going to need some output from Duchene.
Yes.
And he did this week. He had 3 goals and 2 assists in those 4 games. Pretty good. Unfortunately, Philip Forsberg is on the IR with an upper body injury.
No,
and he
not
is
Forsberg.
week to week. Yeah. So hopefully he recovers quickly, because last season he was cut pretty short by
He-
injuries as well.
he's
He
one of
didn't. He basically didn't play last
No,
year.
like he's one of their best players if he's
Yeah.
healthy.
And this is a contract year for him as well.
Oh, really?
So he, I think, would really like to be on the ice
yeah.
and earn a substantial contract in the offseason from Nashville or whoever. Else.
Yep.
Let's go to St. Louis. St. Louis was 1-1-1 this week, taking their grand total record to 7-2-1. They're doing very well this year.
Mm-hmm.
They lost in a shootout to LA. They beat San Jose outright, and
Lost to the Ducks.
Oh yeah, I wrote that number wrong. They lost to the Ducks. Yeah, I transposed the score.
Yeah, I missed it. I've done that.
So I think this was their California trip, like playing on the road. They might go back out there because interconference. So the way that the NHL makes the schedule is that in your division you play everybody 5 or 6 times, I think, and then you play everybody in your conference or like in the other division of your conference 3 times, and then everybody from the other conference 2 times. So that's just how they make the schedule. So they're definitely going to play those California teams at least 2 more times this year, if they haven't played them already. I'm not sure, but I think that all of these games were away for St. Louis, so they were all, obviously in California. They were against all of the California teams. Their power play this week was 1 for 6. Their penalty kill was 9 for 11. Their top player was Brendan Saad, 3 goals this week, including 2 goals against San Jose. Unfortunately, they have Ville Husso, Kyle Clifford, Tyler Krug, and Mikola all out for COVID.
Ooh.
So that might be why they had kind of like a down week.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of
That's
starting
a lot of good guys.
Yeah, and Braden Shen also has an upper body injury, but I did not see what happened with that. I think his injury is still being evaluated.
Gotcha.
So a little bit of a down week for St. Louis there, but overall they're doing pretty good so far this year. Moving on to Winnipeg, they were 2-1 this week. 2-1. They beat Dallas in a shootout, like I mentioned before. They also beat Chicago, but then got shut out by the Islanders.
Ooh.
So that 2-1 this week brings their overall total to 6-3-2 so far this year. Their power play was 3 for 8, pretty good power play this week.
Yeah.
4 for 5 on the penalty kill. Only took 5 penalties.
That's very
like
good.
that. Yeah,
no, 100%.
you gotta like that. As for their top player, I had to give it. It's a 3-way tie for them.
Okay.
Because Ehlers, Schmidt, and Kopp all had 3 points, and it was either 1 goal and 2 assists, or 2 goals and 1 assist. So I couldn't pick one of them to give it to. So I gave it to all 3 of them, and no injuries really to speak of for Winnipeg this week, thankfully.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that is the Central. What are you going to tell me about?
I'm going to tell you about the Pacific.
All right, tell me.
Which is why I was quiet, because I forgot to write Anaheim's overall standings. Yeah, so.
Well, what are you going to do?
You
were writing them down while I was talking.
I was going to start with them, so might as well know what they're doing. They were 3-0 this week.
Hey!
Anaheim's
playing well this year.
Good
Yeah.
week. 3-0, which brings them to 6-4-3, which is
nice.
Surprising.
That's definitely surprising for
To the
Anaheim.
start.
Yeah, we thought that they were going to be one of the lower teams, just because they're still kind of rebuilding. But
they're young. They're young for the most part, still rebuilding. But they beat Arizona, which is expected.
It's not a huge accomplishment.
They beat New Jersey Devils.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
And they beat the St. Louis Blues.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Yeah. St. Louis has been good. Now, again, St. Louis has all those guys out for COVID, but
they beat them 4-1.
Hey, you got to take those wins when you can get them. You can't, there's no pity points in hockey, basically.
They beat them outright. So they went 4 for 13 on the power play.
That's not bad.
Learning a lot.
Getting a lot of power plays, yeah.
And then 8 for 8 on the PK,
Boom.
which is what you want.
Hell yeah.
I'm kind of giving it a 2-way tie. So John Gibson,
Yeah.
he had a shutout against the Devils.
It's yet another player from around where I grew up.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And then he let one goal in against the Blues. That's it. I forgot to math up that before, and I don't plan on doing it now.
Hey, he had a good week.
He had a great week.
Did you say he played all 3 of their games?
No, he did not.
He played 2 of them?
He played 2.
Okay, that's still 2-0.
And then Troy Terry had 3 goals and 2 assists.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Troy.
Yeah, I said his name right this time.
What'd you call him before?
Tory.
Tory, that's right. Tory Terry.
I like that more.
I kind of like that name more,
I know, but...
Troy, if you're listening, I know you are. Consider a change.
Yeah, consider it.
It's just swapping two letters around.
Just think about it.
Tory Terry. It's fun to say.
It is.
Saying Troy.
Ever since I called him Tory, he's been putting up the points.
Ooh. Clay's got that mojo for you, too.
There it is. All right, up next is Calgary.
I'm trying to think of what candy I want to ask you about to just confuse the shit out of you this week, like I did with Boston Baked Beans last week.
Sweetest fish? I don't know. Calgary. So they were 1-0-2. So lost 2.
They came back down to earth a little bit.
Not really.
They still got points.
Not really.
They still got points.
They're 7-1-3. So they haven't really come back anywhere.
Yeah.
They lost to Nashville.
Right.
In that overtime. Lost to Dallas in overtime.
Right.
And kicked the tar out of the Rangers 6-0.
Oh, yeah. That was on the tail end of them beating the shit out of the Metro Division.
Yes.
They tore through the Metro Division last couple weeks.
Yeah, 100%. Markstrom played all 3 games. He was amazing. He's Markstrom.
Yeah, Jacob Markstrom's playing real well this year.
He's got 4 shutouts and 9 starts this season.
Fuck.
Yeah. They were
making a bid for the Vezina early this year.
100%. He's making Vancouver feel bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Demko is playing well, but he doesn't have 4 shutouts.
That's true. He does not. Anybody does other than Markstrom.
3 for 14 on the power play.
Nice.
And then 8 for 8 on the penalty kill. You can't ask for anything else.
No.
Matt Tkachuk is the player of the week with 3 goals and 3 assists.
I love that you refuse to not say the T.
Tkachuk.
You just don't say the T.
Nope.
It's Tkachuk.
Tkachuk.
Oh, man.
3 goals, 3 assists.
Pretty good.
I believe 2 of them were against the Rangers, but yeah, whatever. Edmonton.
Edmonds.
The other Alberta team. 3-0.
Yeah, they're having a good start this year. Aren't they like 9-1?
Yep.
Or something. Yeah.
9-1. Beating Seattle, Nashville, and the Rangers again, but they had to beat the Rangers in overtime.
Okay.
They did come back 2 goals in the third period. So send it to overtime and then
against the Rangers.
Yeah, against the Rangers. It's one of the first times they've looked shaky.
Yeah. I don't know. I still don't 100% trust Edmonton. It's like I don't trust Toronto either, because with Edmonton, it's just Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl driving that team right now. They're all of their scoring.
Mm-hmm. Draisaitl has 5 goals and 5 assists.
Eventually, those 2 guys are going to slow down at least a little bit, because teams will start playing. Because in the beginning of the NHL season, teams are still figuring out their systems and how to play them best. And so, especially defense. So, usually in the beginning of the season, you see a ton of scoring because teams haven't figured out their defensive systems 100% yet. And so, you'll see these numbers. And unfortunately for McDavid, this year, he doesn't get to play all of the crappy Canadian teams. Oh, Ginger's here.
Hi, Ginger.
I mean, he does get to play them, but he has to play everybody else too.
Yep.
So they're gonna run into teams that are better, like the Rangers. Now they still beat the Rangers, but the Rangers took them to overtime. They had a lead and they blew it, but So my point is I don't 100% trust Edmonton.
Oh yeah,
because you have to remember what happened in the playoffs last year
and the year before that.
Yeah, because they keep being like, oh, they're gonna crush Winnipeg. They're locks to be in the or the North Division finals against Toronto, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" And then both of those teams lost in the first round in pretty embarrassing They got swept by Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things until they make a big run in the playoffs, reach the Western Conference Finals, reach the Stanley Cup Finals.
They don't even have to win the Western Cup.
No, not necessarily. Just get to that third round. I don't think I'm gonna 100% trust their ability because especially in the playoffs, defense gets played way tighter, and the scores are way tighter. And can they get around that those defenses?
And refs stop calling shit. So,
which is super annoying. I agree,
but it's consistent.
It is consistently bad.
So can they overcome that?
I guess we'll see. Again, we're at the beginning of the season.
Very beginning. They were 4 for 7 on the power play.
Great.
So their power play is a buzzsaw right now. And 7 for 9 on the penalty kill. So that's very good.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
That's pretty good.
And like I said, Draisaitl has 5 goals, 5 assists. He's there.
He has 20-something points right now.
Top of the week.
Yeah. 10 points this week. Ginger's killing the toy.
In 2 games.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive. Yeah.
Sorry.
3 games.
3 games.
Yeah.
I was thinking
still impressive.
I was thinking
still
last week.
Impressive.
Last week they only hit 2. All right. Los Angeles Kings.
Kings.
They were 2-0.
Cool.
Brings them up to 5-5-1.
That's not bad. That's better than I think a lot of people would have pegged them.
So they had a shootout win against the Blues, like we said.
Right. Yeah.
And then they had a overtime win with New Jersey. They were 1 for 10 on the power play. And that's not great. And 4 for 5 on the penalty kill.
No, that's okay.
I don't really have any one player as a standout.
Yeah,
everyone kind of just
was there. It was a group effort.
It was
this week.
very much a group effort, and again,
sometimes that's how the week is. You know,
it was close.
There's no one guy that scores a bunch of goals. Like a bunch of guys just have 2 points.
Yep.
You know,
that's really what it was. So I'll have one guy. It was a great team effort this past week.
Yeah, good for them. 2-0.
Seattle, the Kraken.
The Kraken.
Womp womp. They were 1-2, so they did get a win.
I mean, they did win a game.
They did win a game. Like we said, Edmonton beat them. They beat Buffalo and then lost to Arizona.
They beat Buffalo.
Buffalo's weird.
Coming back down to earth, I think.
I don't know. We'll get there.
We'll see.
Yeah. So their defense is just not really doing it right now.
Yeah, like we were saying before, that's kind of weird.
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Grubauer isn't playing extraordinary.
Yeah.
But they aren't giving him any favors.
Right.
That winning goal against.
I might chalk it up to well, I don't want to blame any one thing because you got to remember they are an expansion team.
Mm-hmm.
So
everyone's expecting to be Vegas, which
Vegas was an aberration.
Yeah,
Vegas was absolutely an aberration because if you look at the history of the NHL, every other expansion team has been awful for
all time,
for the first 5 years of their existence in the league. You know, and then their draft picks start growing and they start getting better. But you know, I mean, what are they for? Whatever.
4-7-1.
4-7-1. I mean, that's not great, but
no,
it's terrible.
It's
not yet.
It's not the basement.
No, it's not. They're not Arizona.
No.
You know, they're doing better than a couple of teams, but this is more in line what you should expect with an expansion team.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that losing goal that they gave up to Arizona, it was a weird dump back turnover behind your own goalie.
That is strange. I don't know why you would do that.
You're not doing Grubauer any favors right there.
Yeah, well, I will also contend I really don't understand why they hired Dave Haxtell to be their coach.
No.
Everybody should remember, he was a terrible coach in Philadelphia.
Yep.
So much so that he hampered the Flyers for a while.
Yeah.
And then, and also I guess cost Ron Hextall his job there as well because Hextall was like, no, but I don't want to fire him, and they were like, all right, well, we'll just fire both of you.
Yeah. I think I heard rumor that the GM was friends with him, so it's
maybe.
that old boys type deal.
But it's just I don't know. I just don't think he's a super good coach. I mean, maybe he'll turn it around this year. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I don't know. I question that choice of
well,
coaching.
they're 0 for 9 on the power play this week. No, and then 4 for 7 on the penalty kill, which is
that's even worse.
What I'm saying about their defense.
Yeah.
It's not doing
That's bad.
any favors.
Yeah. Just rubbing up against my legs.
They let in 12 goals in 3 games.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm sure a couple were empty nets, but it's still a lot.
That's still a lot.
Jordan Everly had 4 goals.
That's pretty good.
He's their
silver lining.
best guy, yeah.
Silver lining there.
What was a very nice backhand.
Is he from? I know he's Canadian. Is he from the west coast of Canada?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't remember.
I could not tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. Some guys I know where they're from.
I'm not Pierre.
It's true. I know all the guys that are from the Pittsburgh area because that's where I'm from. Like Brandon Saad and John Gibson and Vincent Trocheck.
All right. Canucks.
Nuckies.
Same place, just north of the border.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, Vancouver and Seattle are so similar.
They were the opposite this week, and 2-1.
Good. I always like when Vancouver does well. I like Vancouver.
They beat me too.
Yeah.
They beat the Rangers in overtime.
Nice.
Lost to Nashville,
right.
And then beat Dallas.
Pretty good week for Vancouver.
Yeah.
Honestly, they beat 2 pretty good teams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dallas is kind of a weird team.
Dallas is weird
this year, but
the Rangers are pretty good right now.
The Rangers are pretty good. We'll get to them in a second, but they're having a pretty good beginning of their season.
Yeah. So Vancouver's 5-6-1 again, basically
It's
500.
not bad. Yeah.
Loser point, but basically 500.
Well, they're under 500 technically.
Yeah, but
they're close. They're close to being 500.
Basically.
Yeah.
Though we don't like the power play this week. It was 3 for 17.
17?
Yeah, if you're getting 17 penalty power plays.
I mean, 3's not bad, but that number's not. They're not 0 for 17, but 17.
They went 0
plays?
for 11 the first 2 games, and then
then they got 3
for 6.
Yeah, 3 for 6 against Dallas, right? Yeah, wow, they're drawing a lot of penalties.
Mm-hmm. Which think of the players that they have. If you're calling, if you're actually calling penalties, Pedersen and Besser.
If you're calling penalties like you're supposed to be calling penalties.
In this Besser and Pedersen are gonna earn you some penalties.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
JT Miller has 4 goals and 1 assist.
Nice.
And
I think he's from the Pittsburgh area too. Actually, yeah.
You're a weird
I'm pretty
man.
sure. Well, I just know the people that are from. Pat McAfee is literally worked at the pizza shop down the street from my house, and I didn't know that for years.
Pittsburgh's a weird place.
You're a weird place.
Yeah, I know. All right.
You're just you're just jealous of our sports prowess.
I mean, yeah, a little bit. All right. Last up is Vegas. We got some stuff coming out of Vegas, which is good. But this week they went 2-2. They are 6-6.
That's weird.
They are hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're hurting pretty bad.
You see that they're missing Pacioretty and Stone and Carlson gets banged up and you're just
That's some guy that just traded for.
Yeah, and that stinks. But then you watch them play and they're just they are hurt.
Yeah.
So
there's some teams this year that are really dealing with penalties, with injuries and COVID a lot already.
Very much
these guys, Pittsburgh's dealing with it a lot.
Ottawa's dealing with COVID right now. San Jose's
COVID.
San
Jose. Obviously St. Louis.
Sorry,
too,
I said last up, but I did forget about San Jose when I was doing this.
We'll
right. Get them next.
You said that before we started.
I don't know how I did that, but I did it. All right, so lost to Toronto, got shut out.
Bummer.
Beat the tar out of Ottawa.
Well,
beat Montreal.
Oh, that's good.
And then lost bad to Detroit.
Ooh.
Detroit.
What was that Detroit score?
It was 5-2.
Ooh. Detroit's one of those weird teams.
That last goal was an empty net, but
okay.
It was.
But still, you lost by 2.
Yeah. They scored on the power play.
Hey, wasn't that their first power play goal, or was that last week?
No, that
was their first power play goal.
This week.
Was it?
They hadn't scored.
Their power play is terrible.
They were 2 for 9 on it.
Yeah,
This week.
okay. Yeah, they did okay this week. Yeah, that's fine.
They were 2 for 2 against Montreal.
I mean,
and that's their first one.
You know, take what you can get.
6 for 10 on the penalty kill.
Oof. Ouch. That's not. I mean, that's not quite as bad as who did I say was 9 for 15? Oh, Dallas.
Oh my God.
That's not quite as bad as Dallas, but giving up 6 power play goals in 3 games. But
it's
6 for 10 is not good. That is not
want.
what you want at all. That'll really hamper your team going forward.
Nicholas Waugh had 1 goal and 4 assists.
Is it Wall?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know Patrick. I think we had this discussion
we did have
before.
This.
Yeah, because I see his name and I'm like, is it Waugh like Patrick Waugh or is it Roy like it should be?
Because I get all these French names wrong and then they get Gaudreau and Waugh right, and you don't breaks your brain.
Well, then I was like, you did Gaudreau, and you're like, he's American. He's from New Jersey.
But big Vegas news.
Yeah, you want to talk about that now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I'll talk about it now because I had the space on my notepad.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Jack Eichel is the newest Golden Knight.
So your Jack Eichel weekly update, I guess, is over now.
It's over.
He did get traded. This is actually sooner than I thought he was going to be traded.
I mean, is he still on Buffalo? No.
No, he's not.
We can do that in the future.
I mean,
It'll always be no.
It'll be no from now on. He'll never fucking play there again.
No.
I did see an interview.
He is getting his surgery.
He's getting what
he wants. Buffalo got Alex Tuch,
who is also injured. I just want to point out.
Also injured, but they are not putting him on the long-term injury so they can meet the cap salary floor.
Salary floor, yeah.
Peyton Krebs, and then 2 conditional picks. I think they named them. I didn't see.
It was a first and a second. I think there were.
That's fair.
Oh, the first was a lottery protected pick. Or it was. I think it was a top 10 lottery, but Vegas isn't going to be in the top 10 picks. Even with all of their injury woes.
No.
She's just playing with her ball.
Yeah, she dropped it in my lap.
Poor pup. She just wants to play. She just wants to be part of the podcast.
Yep. She's part of it, whether she knows it or not.
Yeah, I mean, just her noises in the background. I think it was a first and a second, and the first was lottery protected.
That makes sense.
I think top 10 lottery protected, but that's not like a lot.
It's not a lot,
for
but
Eichel,
at this point, there's probably some league pressure being like, you gotta get this done.
Probably. They're just like, this is looking bad for everybody. Just trade him. I mean, Peyton Krebs is, by all measures, a good prospect. So, like a pretty good. He's not going to be Jack Eichel, but
Tuch is a good player when
Tuch
healthy.
is a good player when he's healthy. So it's not a terrible trade for Buffalo. They did get stuff for him, but
they could get a Jack Eichel with that pick.
That's true. That first or second round pick could turn into Jack Eichel. You never know.
Could be anybody.
You never know. So yeah, and Eichel's getting his surgery.
So he is expected to be back in February.
Yeah, I've seen varying guesses of what that recovery is going to look like.
I don't think he's back before playoffs, just because he's got to get back to skate.
I think he could be back before the playoffs. But if he's back in February, that gives him playing. I threw your ball. It's over there. I threw it over there. I did. I threw it over there. Ginger gave me her ball under the table we're sitting at, and I threw it, but I don't think she saw me throw it, and now she's looking for her ball.
Yep.
It's over there. I threw it over there. And she ran
by it. Hey, over there.
She found it. There she goes. All right, thank God. I felt bad. What the fuck were we talking about? Oh, Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
So he's getting his surgery. I've seen like a lot of variation on guessing on when he's going to be back, from February to like the playoffs to like next week, or not next week, but
I'm being personally, I would be more conservative with those takes, just because I think it's been 8 months. He's got to get back to skating condition.
Sure, yeah. And with a neck injury, I can't imagine he can do that much working out.
Right.
I'm sure he's still in good he's probably in better shape than me and you, definitely.
No, 100%.
Especially me. And,
you got the same problem, but different locations.
That's true. It's just lower down on my spine. Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see him in a Vegas jersey. It will be interesting to see when Pacioretty and Stone and Eichel are all back. That's a pretty stacked lineup at that point.
It really is.
I mean, part of trading Tuck, I think, was this. He gets like, I think his contract's like $4.5 million or something like that. So that probably gives them some cap relief in there as well. So if they get healthy around, February, around the trade deadline,
they can easily make a push.
They're going to be deadly. Yeah, I mean,
they were deadly last year. And
if they can tread water until they get there, around 500, slightly above, and then they get Eichel, they get Stone, they get Pacioretty, all back. That's a pretty deadly lineup.
Very much.
With Eichel now, their center depth is, once they're fully healthy, is Eichel, William Karlsson, and then Chandler Stevenson, who I think is much better as a third-line center than a first-line center. But
I do want to shout out Chandler Stevenson because
he's played well.
He is a point-per-game player since starting.
Good for him. That's good for him, yeah.
He has the same amount of multi-point games as he has 0-point games this year.
I have nothing against Chandler Stevenson.
We were just surprised.
I would not say he is a first-line center by any measure.
I agree, but the fact that he is still putting up points because everyone thought Stone and Pacioretty would be carrying him.
True.
And he's putting these points up
neither
without
one of them are in the lineup.
Exactly. So that's why I want to shout him
out. He's doing very well.
He's very well.
But that center depth looks pretty good once everybody's back in the lineup. And I think one of our biggest knocks of Vegas was they did not have a number one center.
Yep.
And now they do once he gets back into hockey shape. So I think it's a fair move all around. Now, the one thing I will say, and I don't know if these rumors were true, I know that Calgary was also in the discussion for Eichel.
They were talking about Matt. They were talking about Chuck. They were talking
about Monahan.
Yep.
Not both together in the same trade, but one or the other plus other things.
Yeah.
Now, if that rumor was actually true, I don't know why Buffalo didn't do that. The rest of that deal had to be garbage. Because if you're going to get Matt Tkachuk, now you're making me do it and saying the T. If you're going to get Matt Tkachuk in that trade, plus like a first round pick and like a top
prospect,
Ginger just growled at nothing and then ran away. She's back. And like a top prospect and like a first round pick or something. That's a much better trade than they did here. Because Tkachuk is still, I think he's 26, something like that. He's still fairly young.
He's not injured currently.
Reaching his prime. Yeah, he's not injured. Now, this makes me think that Buffalo is just like, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just start over, basically, which is like, how many more years are you going to do this?
Every single one since the beginning of time.
Oh, man. I mean, I guess they're going to...
How long has Eichel been in the league?
Right. I guess they're going to build around Rasmus Dahlin now.
I mean, you should be.
The defenseman. They did get that other defenseman at number one. I believe his name is Owen Power in this last, which is a pretty dope name.
That's a great
in this
name.
Last draft. He's not on the team yet. He went back to college, but so like you should have a pretty good defense if
Everything
Power
develops
out and Dahlin gets better. Because I think Power is more of a defensive defenseman, whereas Dahlin is an offensive defenseman. So, like, if you pair them together, theoretically, they should be very good. So we'll see. I don't know. So I think it's an okay deal for Buffalo. I think Eichel's injury and the uncertainty of that surgery drove down
100%
the price. But if those rumors out of Calgary were true, I don't know how you didn't go for that one.
Yeah.
I would take Matthew Tkachuk over Alex Tuck.
He's a shitheel of a player, but
he's a good player.
He's a good shitheel.
He's very similar to Tom Wilson, like he's kind of an agitator, but he can also score.
Exactly.
They're both like power forwards that, are shit starters too.
Yep.
So.
All right.
San Jose.
Last up is San Jose. They went 1-1-1.
1-1-1.
1-1-1. They are now 6-4-1.
San Jose is doing better than I think we thought they were going to as well.
We thought they were going to be a basement team.
They still could be, but
I thought they were going to be a straight up basement
team. But they're having a good start to the season.
Beating Buffalo I take back what I said about Buffalo. Back down to earth. Beating Buffalo, St. Louis, and the Devils. Sorry, they lost to St. Louis. They lost to the Devils in the shootout. So that's the 1-1-1. They were 2 for 9 on the power play.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
And 10 for 10 on the penalty kill.
Boom.
That's what you want.
Hell yeah.
Brett Burns is their star player this week.
Oh, thank God.
No.
I like Brett Burns. He just looks like a hobo.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Joe Thornton being on that team because there's just like there's just like two hobos
the
on that
hobo
team.
bros.
Yeah.
And the fact that Brett Burns doesn't have any front teeth.
He has like no teeth at all.
He took a slap
Like
shot.
I just love when he smiles because he's not like one of those players that went out and got veneers like Crosby did, because all of Crosby's teeth are fake too.
Right.
But like he went out and got like the nice fake teeth.
Yes.
That you can get. But Burns was like, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna look like a prospector.
Same with Downey, I believe.
There's a few guys that are just like they smile and they just have no teeth.
No.
And that's like an old meme about hockey players, but like I love that there's still some guys that are like, you know what, fuck, I know I'm a millionaire like many times over, but I'm not gonna get like nice teeth.
So a kid, or at least they're gonna finish playing before they.
Yeah, they might get nice teeth afterwards.
So a kid I went to high school with actually had his front teeth knocked out playing lacrosse or something like that, and his front 2, maybe 4 teeth, on the top were a retainer. So he could choose
he could pop them in and out.
He could choose when to have his.
It's funny too.
Actual smile. So I feel like Burns and Dowdy and all them should at least do that.
Brett Burns looks like at any moment he's gonna be like, "There's gold in them hills, the gold I say."
Pull out a prospector dance.
Like he's wearing overalls where like one of them is like detached. And he's like,
shirt.
Oh yeah,
no shirt.
I found gold in them hills. Anyway, Brett Burns.
They still have COVID issues.
Oh, yeah.
That's about it. I don't really have many injuries. I didn't really do
Good. I would rather everybody be healthy for the whole season.
I didn't really do the day-to-day injuries.
That's fine.
This week.
The only one I really mentioned was Makar, and that's just because he's a significant player on Colorado.
On Vancouver, Mott went to the IR with a neck injury.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the one neck injury.
Hopefully he's okay.
But that's the only one I got.
The only significant injury. Well, that's good. Stay healthy, everybody. We want you to stay healthy. I would rather everybody play a full 82-game season.
100%.
All right, let's talk about the Metro, but first I'm going to do this.
Ooh.
Aha. Beat you to it.
No.
Oh, you have beer all over my nose.
Well, they weren't good notes in the first place.
Mine are much more... Mine have color.
Mine have color. It's blue and black. Just because you use red.
Whatever.
Doesn't make you special.
Whatever. Red looks better.
Red, black.
Anyway.
I don't have red pens, apparently.
Dude,
I looked.
They're so easy to find at the store.
I'm not going to buy pens. I'm going to steal them from work.
That's fair. Anyway, the Metro Division. Let's talk about the Metro Division. We'll start... Oh, I almost spilled my beer all over the place. Having too much fun. We're having too much fun, Clay. Let's start with Carolina. They were 1-1 this week. They did lose their first...
That was it?
Yeah, they only played 2 games, but they lost their first game of the season. They beat Chicago 4-3, and then they lost to Florida in regulation. So that was their first loss.
That was a good game.
Florida, we'll get to in a second, is the only team that has not lost in regulation yet.
Yep.
Which is dope.
10-1. 10-0-1.
Yeah, I like the Panthers a lot.
We talk about this a lot.
Yeah, there's certain teams, like me and Clay, cheer for certain teams. You'll never guess which ones. I mentioned where I'm from, so...
We have our favorites.
We have our favorites, but then we also have other teams that we would like to see succeed, too. Like, I always want to see Vancouver succeed, just because, I don't know, they have a fun name. That's like kind of a slur for Canadian people, which is really funny.
Their mascot isn't Tribal Orca.
Yeah, it's great.
What?
And then the Panthers are another one that are like, there's a hockey team in Miami. That doesn't make any sense, but I want them to succeed.
They play in Fort Lauderdale, basically.
Yeah, with all the old retired people.
No wonder their numbers weren't good. It's because they weren't good.
Well, you know what? They're doing good this year. Anyway, we're talking about Carolina, who lost their first game this year. They were
not moving.
No, not anytime soon, as far as I know. They're doing pretty well, I think.
But they were always the ones just like, oh,
really the
Carolina.
only. Yeah, Florida. Well, there was always 3 teams that everybody was like, maybe move that team, and they were all. It was Carolina, Florida, and Arizona. Now Arizona still maybe. We'll see. But the other two, I think, are pretty solid.
Yeah.
Going to stay where they are. Anyway, Carolina, like I said, 1-for-1. They are 9-1 on the season so far. Very good season.
Yeah, no, it's...
They were 1-for-7 on the power play.
They're looking like juggernauts.
Oh, yeah.
In the Metro.
We'll see. Excuse me. And they were 7-for-10 on the penalty kill.
Okay.
That penalty kill number could come up.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you going to do? One funny thing that happened... Just by one would even be fine, yeah. One funny thing that happened in the Florida game was that I believe after one of the Florida goals, somebody threw a rat on the ice. Not a live rat, a plastic rat. And Tony DeAngelo shot it.
Shot it back at the Florida bench.
Yeah, and he got a penalty, like a unsportsmanlike
You got a game misconduct. Everyone was worried. Everyone was worried for a little bit because it was right after Anthony Duclair's empty net goal, and then he got the misconduct, and everyone was just like, "Oh shoot, did he say something racist?" And it was just that, and everyone was just like, "Oh, thank Christ, yeah."
Thank God. Oh, thank God, it was just something stupid.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God he didn't say a slur.
Oh, it was just funny. All right, I'm fine.
I think if he did that, they would. Carolina should just cut him.
Oh, they would have dumped him.
They're like giving him a chance, you know. But that was just funny.
Yeah. It was hilarious.
Their top player this week was Svechnikov, who had 3 assists. One thing I did want to mention in that Florida game is that Antti Raanta got hurt after there was a collision with Lomberg, I think. So a lot of people, and then Lomberg got a 5-minute major, and I think maybe got kicked out of the game.
He got kicked, yeah.
But if you watch the replay, I don't really agree with that call because Raanta came out to play the puck way out of the net. And he came out, and Lomberg just really couldn't get out of the way.
It was a 50-50 puck.
I think it was on, it was kind of on both of them. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say, Lomberg didn't get suspended or fined or anything like that, but I don't think he deserved a 5-minute major.
No.
Maybe you could have given him a 2 for, hitting the goalie, but he didn't mean to do it. I don't think he could have gotten out of the way.
I don't think so either.
And it sucks that Raanta got hurt.
At the same time, I am very surprised about Carolina's reaction to seeing your goalie on the ice. The fact that no one dropped gloves is very surprising.
I mean, there was a little bit of a scrum, but
there was a scrum.
They didn't go after Lomberg as hard as they should have.
I didn't see who, but one of Carolina's defenders saw the entire thing happen.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I don't care.
You should stick up for your goalie, certainly.
Even if it was a clean hit, you can't let anyone hit your goalie. No.
Even if it was an accident, I mean, you still, it's kind of... every sport has, a weird code to it. Baseball has a weird code. Hockey has a weird code. Football has a weird code. Mm-hmm. And one of the... I guess it's not weird. It's just, unspoken things. And one of them in hockey is, you don't hit the goalie.
You don't hit the goalie.
Because they're not supposed to be hit. Mm-hmm. They're not a defender. They're not a forward. They're the goalie. And usually they're not paying attention to everybody on the ice. They're watching where the puck is. And you can blindside them very easily.
It's like when Lucic blew up Ryan Miller on Buffalo.
Yeah. It's one of those unspoken rules.
That, no one dropped their gloves at that point.
Yeah.
Was
but here's the thing. I don't fault Lomberg for it. I think it was an accident.
This was a complete
accident. It sucks that Raanta got hurt. He has an upper body injury. The way he got hurt, the way he got hit, I have no idea what that injury is. It could be a shoulder. It could be a concussion. It could be his wrist. I have no idea.
Because that flipped him around.
Because he got hit. He got hit hard. Yeah. It says day to day on the injury report, so hopefully it's nothing serious. Right. They did lose Brett Pesce week to week, though. Ooh. That's not good. He's one of their top defenders.
Yeah, he really is.
And the ball's back.
Different ball.
And they did lose Nito Niederreiter day to day as well, too. So that one's not as serious. But Pesce, that's a blow to their blue line. So we'll have to keep an eye on that moving forward. But, a 500 week for Carolina.
Yeah, and again, I don't think Florida's guy meant to hurt.
No, not at all. It was completely an accident. In our opinion.
Yes. To us, it seemed like
if you watch the replay, I don't even think he was looking at the goalie. He was trying to find the puck.
He was looking straight at the puck.
And
They were both looking ready.
Every time I see a goalie do that, because the puck was way out in front of the net.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
it was past the point.
Yeah, it was it was past the red line, or it was past the face-off dots.
Yes,
it was near the blue line.
Sorry, point. I meant face-off dots. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, but so he went way out, and every time I see a goalie try to do that, I'm like, you're gonna fucking get annihilated on that hit, and he did,
and it happened.
And it's really dangerous. It does work sometimes. But other times, I've also seen players just flip the puck over the goalie and then just go score in the open net as well. So sometimes you can look like an idiot.
But Raanta did win that race.
He didn't get scored on.
He won.
He just got blown up.
He won the race.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like when I see goalies do that.
No, I mean, again, I don't think it should have been a 5-minute.
No,
toss,
absolutely not.
But I also don't think he should have.
I think somebody should have defended. If he had fought, then I think you could just call it a wash.
Yeah,
at that
100%.
point. If somebody had fought him right afterwards,
and you can say that the refs,
it could have even been like a shitty fight, But
the refs, you could say that the refs jumped in they were in front of him almost immediately. So they were stopping anything, but I didn't see any Carolina players really rushing to his defense.
They're soft. They're soft.
I'm not saying they're soft.
No, I know. I'm just joking. I'm just memeing, dog.
Trolling.
Well, let's move on to Columbus, who, like I said, played Colorado twice this week, and that was it for them as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
just
weird.
a home and home between Columbus and Colorado this week. Very strange scheduling. But like I mentioned, Columbus won both of those games. Sorry, I burped. So they're 2-0 this week. They're another surprising team this year. They're 7-3.
Yeah.
On the season. We thought that they were going to be the bottom team in the Metro, and we didn't think that they were going to be terrible, but at least I thought there was going to be some growing pains because no Tortorella, some of their veteran leadership was gone, player-wise.
But they don't care.
Yeah, they're killing it so far this year. They were 0 for 4 in the power play, but 7 for 7 on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
So, pretty good week for Columbus, pretty good first month of the season for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cole Sillinger was their top player this week. He had 2 goals and an assist. He's a rookie. He was.
He got that one. No, man. He scored.
Yeah. Yeah, he scored twice this week, like I just said.
Well, I saw his first goal and it was very nice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cole Sillinger had 3 goals and an assist this week. He had 2 goals and an assist in the first game against Colorado.
Gotcha. That's
my bad. I misread his stat line, but the interesting thing is that he was the result of the first-round pick they got from Chicago in the
Panarin?
Seth Jones trade.
Oh, Seth Jones. Okay.
And then the second-round pick they also got in that trade, they traded for a defenseman whose name I just lost. Jake Bean. That's his name.
Okay.
From Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And both Bean and Sillinger together scored 5 goals in those 2 games.
Stupid.
And so it's just who won the Seth Jones trade? Columbus, it looks like right now.
Yeah.
As for injuries, unfortunately, they did lose Patrick Laine for 4 to 6 weeks for an oblique injury.
He's been doing well, too.
He has. And this, again, he's another guy that this is kind of a contract season for him.
Yeah.
He's on the younger side, so I think he's still a restricted free agent after this year. But it's still a kind of a prove-it season. He's getting a lot of money, but still.
Yeah. He can get more.
And Max Domi has unfortunately contracted COVID. But, again, thankfully, for most of these guys that have COVID, they're asymptomatic because almost everybody in the league is vaccinated.
Except for you, Tyler Bertuzzi.
You're talking to Aaron Rodgers too much. So
and their friends, Joe Rogan.
Oh, God. Noted doctor, Joe Rogan. So, yeah, swift recovery for Domi. I'm sure he'll be out for a week or 2, it seems like. It seems like when guys get COVID, so far this season, they're out for about a week or 10 days, something like that, until they test negative. I think a few times, and then they can come back. That's Columbus. Good week for Columbus. Moving on to New Jersey.
The opposite.
Well, they were 1-1-1 this week.
Oh, it was 1-1-1?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought they lost more. Never mind.
No, so that takes them to 5-3-2 overall for the season.
I thought they were doing worse.
I mean, they're not doing great. Technically, they're at 500.
Yeah.
They're 5-5 technically, but one thing that was pretty bad this week was their fucking power play, which was 0 for 13.
Jesus.
13. 0 for 13. And you know what? Their penalty kill wasn't that much better. They were 12 for 16. 16 penalties this week.
Stop taking penalties.
3 games. 3 games, 16 penalties.
No, that's
bad. That is not good numbers.
That's bad.
So yeah, not a great week. They lost to Anaheim. They lost to LA in overtime, and they beat San Jose in a shootout.
Okay.
So, 1-1-1. But, I don't know. They don't give me a ton of confidence in them going forward, But no. New Jersey's kind of a younger team, so they still have plenty of potential. They are missing Jack Hughes as well.
Yes.
You got to remember. Their top player, it was kind of a tie. They were very similar to, who was it, the Kings?
Yeah.
That we talked about before that had, it was kind of a everybody effort this week. They had 3 players that had 2 points, so. And as for injuries, they lost Christian Yaros to the IR with a hand injury. No,
well, that's a shame.
No, expectation on his return. But, that's New Jersey. They had a middling week this week. Moving on to the Islanders, who were 2-1 this week, who actually have the exact same record as New Jersey at 5-3-2.
Okay.
So far this season. They beat Montreal, they beat Winnipeg, and then they lost to Minnesota this week. Their power play was 0 for 5.
Ooh, so not good.
You gotta get those power play numbers up.
If you're a man up, you should be scoring.
Yeah, that's preferably. Yeah. And their penalty kill was much better at 5 for 6. They did have a shutout this week. Ilya Sorokin had another shutout. He's doing really well.
He's doing great.
He had a very bad first week of the season, but since then he's had a great week.
He's locked it down.
Great. Last few weeks, yeah. He's playing much better. But their top player this week is Brock Nelson because he scored 5 goals this week. 4 of them were against Montreal, but he still scored 5 goals this week.
How many assists did he got?
0.
Well,
it was 5 goals.
He's no Draisaitl.
Yeah, he's no Leon Draisaitl. He's not passing to Connor McDavid. But yeah, real good week for Brock Nelson.
Yes, very good.
And no real injuries to speak of for the Islanders. Moving on to their city brethren? City rival, yeah. They do not like each other. The Rangers.
They're actually not even in the city.
The Islanders aren't. Yeah, they're on Long Island. Yeah, that's true. Is that not technically part of New York City?
No.
I don't know.
They're Queens is. Queens is technically.
What are the 5 boroughs of New York? I never remember. Long Island isn't one of them, right?
I mean, Long Island is a couple of counties. It's a Long Island. Queens is technically on Long Island, but it's one of the 5 boroughs. Brooklyn, Manhattan, Bronx, Staten Island. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 5.
That's 5.
Yeah, that's 5. Yeah. But they're in Nassau County.
Yes.
Oh, well, actually, technically they're not. They haven't played at home yet this season.
And they
won't for a couple of
2
weeks
more
still.
games.
I know that their first game at home is against Calgary. I think it's next week.
They're on a 13-game away trip.
So they're at 10 games now. So 3 more games, and then they get to play at home. Finally. And they're back at Nassau Arena, which has gotten a facelift as far as I'm aware.
No, it's a brand.
No, it's a brand new arena.
It's Belmont.
Oh, you're right.
It's a brand Nassau Coliseum,
which is good because the last couple of years they played at Brooklyn, and we actually went to a game there.
Yeah, I also went to a game at the Coliseum too.
Oh yeah, that's right, you did. But that game at Brooklyn was it was fine.
It was great,
but it's really annoying to get to. Yeah, and I think that was part of the problem because obviously it's not on Long Island.
Which pissed off all the Islanders fans.
That's what their name is.
Yeah. That's where all the fans
Islanders.
That's where the fans are.
That's where the fans are. But anyway, they're going back to Nassau County this season in a few games. So thankfully. But anyway, we're talking about their brethren. They're
They play in the Square Garden.
They're like Cain and Abel. They hate each other, but they're brothers. That play in Brooklyn. No, Manhattan. They play in Manhattan.
Also, one's an original six, and the other one's
Oh, that's true. Well, the Islanders didn't come in that far down the line of the NHL.
We are digressing.
Yeah, whatever. The Rangers were 0-1-2 this week to take them to 6-3-3 overall on the season. So a down week for the Rangers, certainly. They lost in overtime to Vancouver, like Clay mentioned. They lost in overtime to Edmonton, and then they got creamed by Calgary. But Calgary has been crushing a lot of teams this season so far.
What was fun is when they were booing Adam Fox because he chose not.
Well, it's weird because I didn't remember that Calgary actually drafted Adam Fox.
He didn't want to play for them,
and so they traded him to Carolina, and then and then I guess he didn't want to play for Carolina either, or they just used him as a trade piece, and then they traded him to the Rangers, and then he won the Norris last year. So.
And
I'm sure those two teams are pissed.
I feel like that's why Calgary was pissed.
Yeah. The Rangers went 3 for 10 on the power play this week. That's pretty good, especially for losing all 3 games.
30% is very good.
They did go 8 for 11 on the penalty kill, which isn't horrible, but could be better. Their top player this week is Mika Zibanejad, 3 goals. And they did lose Philip Cheadle day-to-day with an injury. Oh no, not Cheadle.
Oh no.
Not Dom Cheadle.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Spelled completely different, but I don't care.
Yeah. And this guy, I can't remember where Philip Cheadle, I want to say he's from the Czech Republic.
It looks like it. It's spelled that way.
And he's a white guy.
Yeah.
So.
I mean.
So, yeah, kind of a down week for the Rangers, but they're still like second or third in the Metro.
They're still 6-3-3.
Yeah, they're still doing fine. And really no major injuries to speak of, thankfully for them. Moving on to the Philadelphia Flyers. They were 2-0-1 this week. They beat Arizona, like I said. They lost to Pittsburgh in overtime. And they beat Washington in a close game in regulation. That game against Pittsburgh, that was a real gutsy performance by Pittsburgh. I'll get to them in a second. But Philadelphia tied the game pretty late.
Yeah.
To force overtime. And then they lost on, like, a really weird goal.
Gotcha.
Their power play was 1 for 7 this week.
Be better.
Yeah, you should be better. But I will say they scored the first power play goal against Pittsburgh this year. Pittsburgh's power play was, like, 100% until that game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy. But they were also 5 for 5 on the penalty kill.
So
pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Good week for Philly. I gave their top player to Carter Hart because he was 1-0-1 this week. He did have a shutout against Arizona. 148 goals against, 954 save percentage, and a shutout. Pretty good. So Carter Hart's looking good this year. Yeah. And Philadelphia
after that first week.
Yeah. Philadelphia is 6-2-2 so far this year. So they're keeping with their memedom of every other year they make the playoffs so far. That could change.
It's like the Giants even
year bullshit. Do you remember a couple years ago when they both had a 10-game winning streak and a 10-game losing streak in the same season?
Yeah.
I think that was 2019.
Yeah.
And then I think they made the playoffs. Yeah, because they didn't make the playoffs last year.
Right.
And in 2019, they won 10 straight games, I think, early in the season. And everybody was like, oh, shit. No, they lost 10 straight games early in the season. Everybody was like, oh, shit. But then they won 10 straight games and did very well down the stretch. And they were the first team ever to have a 10-game losing streak and then also make the playoffs. Yep. So, that was pretty funny. But they're looking good so far.
Yes, they are.
In the first month of the year. It looks like Ryan Ellis may return this week.
Oh, good.
He's had a minor injury that's kept him out. Not to mention, like, all of the other, like, Kevin Hayes and all of the other injuries that they have. Moving on to Pittsburgh. They were 1-0-1 this week for a 4-3-3 overall record. Now, Pittsburgh is super injury and COVID riddled.
100%.
They got Crosby back for one game, and then he got COVID. Super cool. Super cool season. And then Mike Sullivan also has COVID. Their head coach.
Good for him.
So I think Mike Sullivan missed both of these games this week. He's like calling the assistant coaches and between periods and being like, "Oh, this is what I'm seeing." I'm sure he's watching the game from home.
100%.
Like I said, they did beat Philadelphia in overtime and then lost to Minnesota in in a shootout. Now, like I said with Minnesota, Pittsburgh blew a 2-goal lead with like 3 minutes left in the game, which really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they had just scored an empty net goal, that game would have been over.
Yeah, but they didn't.
So they blew it, and then they lost in a shootout. Now, you got to give Pittsburgh some credit because they're treading water with how many players they're missing.
100%.
I just wrote down so much COVID because they're without Crosby, they're without Dumoulin, they're without Peterson, they're without Ruhwedel, they're without all of these guys that have COVID.
And they might not even have COVID. They are just close contacts.
No, I think they tested positive.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
okay.
But
NHL,
for the most part, they're asymptomatic.
NHL is very strict right now.
Yeah.
If you
as they should be,
close contact, you're out.
But I think all of those guys are asymptomatic. I want to say maybe Crosby was a little sick, but nothing like serious. They did get Chris Letang back this year this week from COVID last week, and he was the one that scored the winner in overtime against Philadelphia. Now, did you see the replay of that?
No.
So he wrapped it around the goal and just snuck it in past Hart, and they had to go to a replay because it showed that Hart's toe was going into the net and the puck was just inside the line.
Perfect.
It beat him by a quarter of an inch into the net, but it still counts as a goal. In case you guys don't know, hockey's not like football, where if the ball crosses the line, it's a touchdown.
No, it touches the plane.
Or if it breaks the plane, then it's a touchdown. In hockey, the puck has to go all the way across the line to count as a goal.
All of the puck has to go all of the line.
All of it. There has to be white. The white of the ice has to be between the hockey puck and the goal line.
It's the same as soccer. All the ball has to cross all the line.
Yeah, that's true. But it counted at overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So they were 0 for 4 in the power play. Not surprising with how many injuries that they have. 4 for 5 on the penalty kill. I believe that was the first power play goal that they gave up this season.
That's better.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 100%.
That they've only given up 1 power play goal this year with how many injuries that they have. Kasperi Kapanen scored his first career hat trick against Minnesota, which really sucks for that game because they lost.
And because it gets with a K.
Kaprizov.
He
had a pretty good game in that game too.
Game.
But Kapanen did score a hat trick. So, that's nice for him. And he's their top player this week, For injuries, so much COVID. They have so much COVID going on. It's just ripping through that team right now. Thankfully, nobody's, super sick, but
riddled with COVID.
Riddled with COVID.
Riddled with COVID.
They're a bird riddled with COVID right now. So, and then last but not least in the Metro Division, the Washington Capitals. Well, they didn't have a great week this week. They were 0-2-1 to take them to 5-2-4 for the season. Pretty good still. They have 5 wins and then 4 overtime losses for those loser points. So, they're still doing all right.
But if I recall, every time they've gone to overtime, they've lost.
Oh, really?
If you go to overtime, if you
there
go
was
to
one
overtime
season,
with the Caps, you beat the Caps.
There was one season I recall that the Devils, I believe it was, were 0-12 in the shootout for the whole year.
Yeah.
It's some sort of crazy stuff like that.
No, it wasn't the Devils. I think it was Buffalo.
It might have been both. I have a vivid memory that it was the Devils that were 0-12 in the shootout for the season. But they were...
I think it was Buffalo because it was Robin Leonard.
It might have been both. You could be right.
We could both be right.
Their power play was 1 for 9 this week. Not great. And their penalty kill was 6 for 10. Only okay. Ovi did have 3 points against Florida in that game that they lost. So, that's nice. And I believe he is 1 goal or 2 goals away from overtaking Brett Hall for 4th all time.
2 goals.
In goal scoring.
2 goals.
So we're pulling for you, Ovi. As for their top player, I almost gave it to Ovechkin again, but you know what? I gave it to Brett Leeson, who is a rookie.
Yep.
Who had 2 goals and an assist this week, so good for him.
I think that was the only game he played.
Good for him. He had a hell of a one game. Unfortunately, Anthony Mantha got put on the long-term injury reserve for a shoulder injury that he did have successful surgery for,
Yep.
so he could be back at some point this year.
That injury was against Florida?
I think so, yeah. So, best of luck to Mantha. Full recovery and such.
That power play and overtime is very much missing action.
That's true, too. He's not back yet, so. All right.
We'll see how they go do in the future.
I think we got the
Atlantic
Division to talk about.
East Coast, Beast Coast. Yeah. All right. First up is Boston. Boston went 1-1.
Boston baked beans.
They got 2 games this week. They won 1, lost 1, which brings them to 5-4.
Ooh, they're not doing as well. Yeah.
And I'll give you one of the reasons why in a minute.
Sure.
They beat Detroit 5-1. Then they lost to Toronto 2-5.
I mean, yeah. It's always funny when I see when somebody says the score like that, or I see it written out like that. It always confuses me.
100%.
Like I understand what you're saying, but it's just funny. It's just like, huh?
All right. So they were 4 for 9 on the power play.
Wow.
Yes. Very much.
That's really good.
Very good.
How bad was their penalty kill?
5 for 8.
Ooh. That hurts. That pretty much negates your power play at that point.
They did get a shorthanded goal.
Still.
I know.
Still.
But that was against
For
Detroit.
so few penalty kills that you have to give up 3 goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that penalty kill has not been good the past couple of weeks. So it kind of shows.
Interesting.
Brad Marchand had 6 assists. And
6 assists?
Yes.
Wow.
Because in the Detroit game, Marc Bergeron had 4 goals.
Huh.
And Marchand assisted all 4 of them.
Oh,
and
yeah, I guess that makes sense, yeah.
And then got 2 assists on the Toronto game.
I'm sorry, did you call him Marc Bergeron?
What did I say?
I think you said Marc Bergeron.
Oh, that's not his name.
What's his name?
I can't tell you right now. I've had too many of these.
It's Patrice Bergeron.
Oof. I don't even know.
You said Mark, and I was like, is his name Mark?
I said Mark, and I'm just like,
I've had the same amount of these beers as you have.
Yeah, well.
You got me for a second. I was like, what's his first name?
I don't know. I know it's Patrice.
It's Patrice.
I haven't eaten today.
Oh, well, that doesn't help. Yeah.
Yes. That's not true. I had a sandwich.
Now, wait a minute. I saw you at work. You ate a sandwich.
I had a sandwich at lunch, and that was it.
You fucking liar.
Not enough for me.
Alright, so
Patrice had 4 goals and an assist.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So those
especially in 2 games.
Those are their 2 star players.
Boston's weird too because they have a really good first line, and then their depth is kind of questionable.
Yeah.
But it's not like Edmonton. Boston's depth is better.
It's better. 100%. It's better.
But it's still like maybe cracks are starting to show in it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Boston on paper would be one of the best teams.
At least in the Atlantic, yeah.
But that's not. So far, that's not the case. We'll see going forward, but who knows?
Yeah. Who's to say?
Who's to say? Buffalo is to say. They went 0-2-1 this week.
That's the Buffalo we know.
And they did come back there.
That's
you
the
were
Buffalo
correct.
we know.
I was thinking of other weeks, but
they were doing well up until this week, right?
But they're better than Boston because they're 5-4-2.
They do have more points than Boston, yeah.
So they lost straight up to San Jose and Seattle. They lost to Detroit in overtime.
All right, I mean they still got a loser point out of it, but
yeah.
that's the Buffalo we know and
that's
love.
That's the Buffalo we know and love.
They're just like, oh, you guys suck.
1 for 5 on the power play.
I mean that's not that bad.
And 6 for 6 on the penalty kill.
Well, that's pretty good. It's weird that they lost all of their games with numbers like that.
Honestly,
although they didn't get a lot of power plays. Clearly,
no.
Only 5.
The Detroit game was a really good game. I watched, and both teams did really well. And I caught some of the San Jose game, but yeah. One of those goals was an empty net. So.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's just kind of stat padding.
Exactly.
Insurance
Same with one of Seattle's. So that's what that 5 comes from.
Yeah, empty net goals are just like insurance goals to make sure that you win the game.
Yep.
Pittsburgh.
Rasmus Asplund has 4 assists, so he's their top player.
They have a lot of Rasmuses.
And they're all from Sweden.
Can they get Ristolainen back? Because they have a player named Rustalainen.
Yep.
And I remember last year, every time I saw a game, they were like, Rustalainen scored. I was like, who? They're like, did you just say his name wrong? I was like, oh no, it's the same name just with a U.
Because he's from Finland.
Yeah.
And everyone else is from Sweden.
They have so many Rasmuses. They have Rasmus Rustalainen, they have Rasmus Asplund, and they have Rasmus Dahlin. So weird. I guess that's a common first name.
Common first name out there.
It's a common first name in Scandinavia.
All right, up next is Detroit. They are 2-2 this week.
It's not bad.
6-5-2 total, which is very good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Better than what we thought they were going to do.
Yeah.
For the start, they lost to Montreal. They got shut out by Montreal, which is never what you want.
Montreal's
lost to Boston, as we said.
Right.
Beat Buffalo, like we said. And last night beat Vegas.
Oh, they beat Vegas.
They beat Vegas bad.
Oh, yeah, they beat them 5-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said that before.
Yep. What am I saying? All right, they were. Yeah, I was going to talk about the goalies because the goalies were actually playing well, but especially
Who are their goalies?
Nedeljkovic and Grice.
Oh, that's where Thomas Grice is.
Thomas Grice is playing well.
He's getting some losses. Plays well, you know.
I mean, he got destroyed by Boston, but brought it back against Vegas.
He was on
the Islanders.
He was on the Islanders. Before that, he bounced around. He was on Pittsburgh for a couple of years. And I distinctly remember that the games that he would play really well, and then he would give up a really terrible goal. All of a sudden.
The game that we went to at the Barclays Center, I believe he was the Islanders goalie.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
And that was a game that ended in a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because both goalies stood on their heads
at
overtime. That overtime was ridiculous. Digressing.
Live hockey is just the best.
They were 3 for 11 on the power play.
That's good.
7 for 11 on the penalty kill.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good at all.
And speaking of the unvaccinated, Tyler Perduzzi is the player of the week.
I mean, hey, there you go.
3 goals and 3 assists. Tyler Perduzzi is not allowed to go to Canada because he's unvaccinated.
That's so funny.
So there are 9 games, 9 or 10 games he can't play.
More than that.
Something like that.
More than that.
No, sorry, it's 9 more games.
9 more games that he can't play.
They've played 3 already. They've lost all 3.
Go figure.
So
he's one of their better players too. It sucks.
He's so good for them.
Just be like, hey, dum just go get a shot.
2 of the losses were to Montreal.
He's like, my friend Joe Rogan said I don't need the shot.
Yeah, 2 of the losses were to Montreal, which is you shouldn't be losing to Montreal twice.
No way. No way should you be losing to Montreal.
But also, I want to shout out Mort Cedar, the rookie.
You said his name?
Yeah, well, I didn't write Nell this time. He had a goal and an assist this week.
Nice. Didn't he score an overtime winner or something?
He scored the game winner.
That was his first NHL goal.
His first goal was a game winner.
It's a hell of a first NHL goal.
He's a defensive.
Yeah, he's a defensive defenseman. Yeah. They don't get enough love.
No, they don't. But he's had 5 hits and then 6 block shots this week.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good week. He's like 21.
Yes, he's very young.
He's really young.
He's got great vision. He's very good.
Cool. So many good German players.
You'd love to see it.
Him, Draisaitl, Grubauer.
Yeah.
I like to see players from countries you would not expect. Well, because there's been hockey players from Germany for a while, but none of them have been super good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hard to be on the level of Canada or Russia or the United States. But Draisaitl is one of the best players in the league now. You know,
Yeah.
He's right up there.
100%.
He won the MVP last year, didn't he? No. The year before he won the MVP. Or he won the scoring title, at least.
I believe scoring.
Yeah, I don't think he got the Hart.
No. All right. McDavid's going to have to play China this Olympics.
That's I feel so bad for
what
China.
He just did
they
to
have
the
to
Rangers.
They have to play Canada and the United States, arguably two of the better Olympic teams. It's so mean. It's so mean that they put them in the same group as those two teams. And they also, I forget who the other team is.
Germany.
Is it Germany?
Or it's
no, I don't think it's Germany.
Is it the Czechs?
I want to say it's the Czech. In any case,
it's not going to be good.
Any of the other teams are going to blow out China. Anyway.
Too much digressing.
We'll talk about the Olympics more later.
These beers are hitting me. So good. All right.
I'm warming up to them. I'm drinking it very easily.
Florida's next.
Florida.
They are 2-0.
Hell yeah.
Since they lost their coach, deservedly.
Oh, yeah. I was like, why? I totally forgot.
They are now 10-1. They are the only team to not lose in regulation.
Fuck yeah, Florida.
Beating.
Fuck yeah, Batman.
Washington. I thought you were cool, Batman. Beating Washington, Carolina. The Washington game was in overtime because, again, if you take Washington to overtime, you're going to beat them.
Everybody remember that. Just play for the tie until overtime.
Bobrovsky got hurt.
Ooh, that's no good.
Against Washington. He went 13 for 13 before getting hurt after the first period.
That sucks.
And then Spencer Knight gave up the first shot he saw.
Boo, Spencer Knight.
He got the win.
Yay, Spencer Knight. I don't have anything against Spencer Knight.
No, not at all. They are 4 for 8 on the power play.
Wow. There's another team that was 4 for 8 on the power play.
Don't take penalties against them.
I wouldn't. They're hot as fuck right now.
And they are
Dallas is
6 for 7 on the penalty kill.
It's good.
So they're killing the penalties they get. Anthony Duclair had 2 goals and 3 assists.
Hell yeah, Anthony Duclair.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Sam Bennett is on the IR with the upper body. That was the only IR.
That sucks.
It shouldn't be too long, but he's still on the IR.
Yeah. Still a week or two, probably.
But yeah, Florida's
killing it.
All right, Montreal got a win. Like we said, they're 1-2. Against Detroit, lost to the Islanders, lost to the Knights. The only player I have to shout out for them is Josh Allen because he got a shutout one game.
Right on. But did you see the news that apparently Carey Price is coming back soon to the team? I don't know when he's going to start playing again.
He's questionable for Thursday. I saw it. I didn't.
Well, hopefully he got whatever help he needed. So that's good. It'll be good to see Carey Price back.
Put it because I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Well, no. I there's no timetable, obviously, but he's back with the team, so maybe he'll be back playing within the next couple of weeks.
It's that knee injury that at this point now.
Right.
So,
yeah. Right.
They are 3 for 10 this season.
It's no good.
No.
Yeah, they're right near the bottom.
They're very bad.
It's so weird that they made the Stanley Cup final last year.
I mean, but think
in
about
like a really weird way.
Edmondson, Deneau, Price, Weber, they're all not playing.
Oh, Edmondson. I thought you said Edmonton. Yeah. I was like, what?
I saw.
And then I understood what you meant.
Yeah, they're all not there. So.
Yeah, Deneau went to the Kings, right? Yeah. Yeah, no more Weber. He's probably never going to play again. I mean, Price, I guess, is coming back, but, like, still, they've been without him, you know.
Motembo has been there. I can't not say it like that. He's been their backup.
I mean, that's how you say it, yeah. Sam Motembo.
He's been their backup goalie. He's only played.
I mean, Jake Allen's played.
Games.
Well, yeah.
3 for 10.
Well, Jake Allen has a shutout. Give him that.
Yeah, I will give him that.
3 and 10. No good. Who's next?
2 for 8 on the power play.
Oh.
Did finish. 2 for 8 on the power play. 5 for 7 on the penalty kill. Got a shorty, but
it's not horrible.
I like saying when they get shorties because they're rare.
Yeah, I don't say them. Yeah. I don't say them like you do.
I like shorthanded goals.
They're always fun. They're very electric when they happen.
I hate how Marchand is so good at them.
He's like deceptively good at defense too.
A specialist.
Yeah.
All right, Ottawa is 0-3-1. They had a bad week.
Oh, Ottawa.
They are 3-7-1 this season so far, which is not good.
Suck. I thought they were going to be better this year.
Me too. Batherson's been playing great.
Yeah,
he's been playing great.
Drake Batherson.
But
such a cool name.
I'm not giving him the player.
We'll take that, Batherson.
Because
you gave it to him last week or the week before or something.
Yes, he's putting up the points, but they're not winning. And he's a forward, so he can't do too much. But there's only so much he can do. But
right.
They have COVID problems right now.
Yeah.
They just had to suspend practice.
Oh really?
Yeah, like they're having COVID problems.
Yikes.
1 for 13 on the power play.
Ooh, that's bad.
And then 6 for 9 on the penalty kill.
Ooh, that's also bad.
So they're just not having a good
6 for 9
year. But again, they lost to Chicago, Minnesota.
Lost to everybody.
Vegas and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was close for most of that game, and then it wasn't. And again, that Minnesota loss was to overtime.
Right. Well, did you see they named Brady Tkachuk as their captain?
They did. I was confused because I thought they did that as soon as
I thought they did that already too. Maybe we just said that. Maybe we just guessed that was going to happen.
I thought
after he signed that contract, but
I thought they named.
They officially
that day.
I guess not, but they officially named him the captain.
Okay.
I think I you know what happened? I think we guessed that they were going to do that, and maybe we both just thought they actually did it.
100%. All right, now is the Lightning.
TBL.
2-0-1.
I see they've raided the ship.
Yes, they have. They're 6-3-2. Okay. And 3 was the second one.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, that's back to where you would expect them to be.
100%. They beat Washington, lost to Toronto in overtime, and then beat Ottawa.
Take that, Ottawa.
Yep, those
damn Senators.
Darn Senators. Actually, take that, Senators.
Just in general.
Exactly. Everyone can relate. 2 for 7 for the power play, 9-11 for the penalty kill.
Those aren't bad.
No.
That's not bad numbers.
Cirelli had 2 goals and 2 assists.
You love that guy.
There. Yeah.
You love Anthony Cirelli.
100%. Yep, he's great.
He's a cool guy.
Nope.
He had a good week. 2 goals, 2 assists.
Yes, he had a very good week.
Way to not be biased and just not give it to him.
He had the best point scorer. I gotta give it to him. Even though he's
had to do it to him.
Shit heel.
Okay. See when your team has Tom Wilson, so
I have not said my team.
The alternate team. Whatever. I think you did at some point.
I feel like I haven't, but either way. All right. Toronto is last up. For real this time.
T-Ron.
They are 3-0 this week.
They're riding the ship too.
They are riding the ship. They are 7-4-1. So that first week where everyone was to where you freaking out for no reason.
Those first 2 weeks, really, because they were like around 500.
Yeah,
but it was like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Well, and then Mitch Marner has 2 goals and 7 assists.
Trade him.
7
assists?
Yes.
Holy shit.
He's the top player because he's got 2 goals and 7 assists in 3 games.
He's a good player.
He is. Who would have thought? 4 for 8 on the power play.
Pretty good.
And then 7 for 8 on the penalty kill. That's what you want.
Yeah.
They beat everyone, but Vegas, Tampa, like we said, in overtime, and Boston.
Suck it, Boston. Suck these baked beans.
That's that. Campbell's playing excellent because he played all 3 games because Mrazek is out again.
Oh yeah, he's like
hurt.
on the IR now.
Yeah, now he's on the IR. He's out for weeks, 2-3 weeks, something like that, if I recall.
Well, at least putting him on the IR actually gives them cap relief, so they can call up somebody to be their backup.
So,
somebody find David Ayers. Don't win the Stanley Cup.
I mean, earlier this season.
Oh, they had to sign that random dude from
Yeah.
From like the University of Toronto or something.
No, but Carolina brought David Ayres to a game.
Oh, he
It's like one of the first games.
He did their like opening siren
Mhm.
thing that they do at their games.
Yeah.
So funny. So funny. Well, that's it, yeah?
That's week 4.
All right, that's week 4 in the books, folks. We'll be back, well, one of us will be back next week.
Yes, we will.
Just so you guys know, next week Clay is going to be out of town.
Woo!
So we're going to have a special guest host, Clay's girlfriend, Jenny, as
Hey, Bert, does Jenny like hockey?
No. No, she doesn't. But she's going to, it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. Maybe I'll just do all the stats, and Jenny told me that she's going to, like, rate everybody's jerseys.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So that should be fun. I think it'll be funny. So tune in for that next week. That'll be something, certainly. But thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe. Give us a review if you're enjoying it. This beer's okay.
Got me where I wanted to be.
Yeah, I don't usually like pale ales, but this one is fine. It grew on me. When I first took a sip, I was like, I'm going to have a hard time getting through this, but it grew on me throughout.
No, this is super tasty.
And again, I would urge everybody to look up the can art on this.
Shout out
it's
to
really
Jason
cool.
Burke, who is the can artist.
Is that the artist?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, they're really cool. They Pipeworks Brewing has really cool can art. Obviously, like we said, very eye-catching.
Oh, 100%.
Follow us on Twitter, @BuzzPucks, if you got a Twitter. Share us with all of your hockey friends, if you have any.
And if not, share us as well.
Yeah, whatever.
Like
just like throw it at people.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, hey, listen to this shit. Be great for us. We would enjoy it. We would appreciate it. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Well, I'll see you guys next week. And Clay's going to do all the research, and Jenny will be here. So that'll be something.
Woo!
But you guys have a good week.
All right.
And we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.